Hey, it's Jonah from Meta Athletics here. What I wanted to do in this video is a little bit different. I wanted to take you through me actually building a speed workout and kind of explaining why I choose certain things. This workout is not strictly for track and field athletes. If you've seen any of our content, like on Instagram or YouTube, you know how important we think it is for all athletes to sprint, even in sports that aren't sprint heavy. So, like volleyball or basketball, like we still highly encourage you to do some sprint training just because of all the benefits you can get from doing work like that. So I won't get into that in this video just because we've talked about that extensively elsewhere. If you want to see some of that stuff, for sure check it out, but let's get into it. So with any workout, all the workouts we make, we always started off with some dynamic flexibility work. So there's usually just a circuit of like, I don't know, 7 to 10 exercises, do 10 reps of everything, and we try not to always make it the same. Like every other day or every other week, we'll switch it up just to make the workout or the warm up not monotonous and to hit some different muscle areas too, get different things loose. And one thing I actually do like doing a lot, this is a top speed day, so usually I stick to B variations or dribble variations, but I do like the A marches. I find they're a really good start to the workout for posture and just really getting you a good mind muscle connection to your glute when actually snapping down your leg, because when you're sprinting, your glute should be providing most of the power. So that's something we really want to get used to doing, and the A marches are great for that. So for A marches, since you move a little bit slow in them, 10 meters, 2 sets of 10 meters, perfectly fine. Around 30 seconds rest, they're not too taxing. And then I like to move into dribble variations, so usually start lower and work our way up. So that means we start with ankle dribbles here, and then calf dribbles, and then knee dribbles as well. And honestly, each of these, like these are just the sprint drill part of the warm up or part of the workout. If you're early in the training year or you're a developmental athlete, well, when I say developmental, someone who could use a lot of brushing up on their technique, or you're very early in the training year, then we'll give you dribbles actually as the main component of your workout. But in this, since I want to give you like a full top speed workout, we'll assume that this is far enough in the training year and your mechanics are good enough to where this doesn't need to be the main component. You can do some actual sprinting, and that we'll just use this as the warm up. So yeah, with each one, just 2 sets. And for the ankle dribbles, about 20 meters, calf about 20 meters, and then knee dribbles like to take it out to about 30 meters since you do cover more distance per step. And so for those, rest isn't too important. You can go from 30 seconds to 60 seconds. If you're good at 30 seconds, do 30. If you're out of breath going into your next set, then go 60. It's not a big deal. One thing I want to stress is we're not training endurance here. We're training speed, power, and strength. And those things, you need to be fresh to train those things. So don't rush through. Take your time. And so after those, I like to go into some straight leg bounds. I like straight leg bounds a lot. 2x30, we'll say. They're also a really good sprint drill to do because they really teach you to snap that leg back under your center of mass, and you really have to use your glutes and your hamstrings to do this, which when you're sprinting, a lot of the power comes from your glutes and hamstrings. And if you overreach in a straight leg bound drill, you'll feel it in your hamstrings. You'll just hit like a dead stop. So these are a good way to get into a top speed workout. And I should explain the dribbles a little bit more. So I am a huge fan of dribbles. If you watch someone do dribbles, you can see like the cyclical or the elliptical like motion that you do in dribbles, which is exactly what you do in top speed. Like in acceleration, things are more piston like, so just up down, or forward back. But then when you're sprinting in top speed, if you watch someone's legs in slow motion, it's very much so like a bicycle. And so dribbles are really good at teaching you to do that. And the one thing I like about dribbles is when you go from ankle to calf to knee, you don't increase your height simply by just picking your leg up higher. The more force you apply into the ground is what dictates how high your other leg comes. So when you're actually at top speed, you don't want to be thinking of bringing your knees up high, which is a huge misconception that people think about. If you want your knees to come up high and powerfully, then that just means you need to apply a lot of force into the ground. The more force you apply, the higher your leg will come. And so these kind of reinforce and teach you that. But then they also give you a chance to practice landing under your center of mass or nearly under your center of mass. Because a big problem non-sprinters have in top speed is they land with their foot too far in front of their body. And so that acts as a way to decelerate their speed, but then also puts their hamstrings at risk for an injury since it is in a lengthened position. So dribbles are honestly just a phenomenal drill for speed, and the better you get at them, the faster you can take them. And you can get, if you get really proficient at dribbles, you can do them pretty well near top speed, or a sprinting pace, I should say. Of course, it'll never quite be top speed, but so after straight leg bounds, this is all you need for sprint drills. Just a few, 2 sets of each for 20 to 30 meters, and then we'll get into sprints, but these sprints aren't quite full speed yet. So these would be a 3 by 50 meter buildups. And so what I mean by buildups is you can't go right into top speed after just doing sprint drills. It's way too intense, and sprint drills are way on the end of one spectrum of force on the body, and top speed is way over here. So you need to bridge that gap a little bit, otherwise you'll get hurt, or you just won't perform that well in your workout. And so buildups is a great way to do that. So you do 3 by 50 meter buildups, and so what that means is throughout the 50 meters you just slowly get faster and faster. You don't just come out like in a full acceleration for 50 meters or a full sprint for 50 meters. So maybe your first buildup is like 60% intensity, and then your second buildup is like 75, and then your last one is like 95, 100% kind of thing. Like you want to use these as the way to bridge the gap from dribbles and top speed on the spectrum. And so after that is when we get into the actual sprints. So I'll bring 2 of these guys down here actually, and I'll explain why. So I'll bring 3 of these guys down. So these are the 50 meter buildups, and so for these we'll give you about a minute rest. For these you can take about 30 seconds in between each one. When moving from like A marches to dribbles, and then to calf dribbles, then knee dribbles, take whatever rest you need. Like these rests are more so in between sets of the same exercise. When you're moving on to a new exercise, we want you to be fresh. So these are the buildups. These would be 50 meter sprints. So these are like true top speed sprints. And if you're going 50 meters, we want to give you anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. We'll sit on 4 minutes. And the funny thing is these are actually the exact same. And so why I put 3 of them in a row is this is kind of like 3 sets of sprints of 2 reps of 50 meter sprints. So when you do these 2 50 meter sprints here, you take a 4-minute rest. When you move from this set of 2 sprints into this set of 2 sprints, you take like 5, 6, 7 minutes. So you can be fully fresh for this one. If I paired all these together, so this is 6 sprints right here. If I paired all of these together for 6 sprints, 4 minutes of rest probably isn't enough for rep 6 to look like rep 1. So if we do this here where you take 4 minutes between set 1 and 2 of this, and then between this one and this one, maybe you take like 5, 6, 7 minutes, then there's a greater chance that rep 6 of the sprint will actually look like rep 1, and that's ultimately what we're going for. We want as much exposure as possible to our max capabilities, essentially. So when you're done that, your nervous system will be a little bit down for sure, but you should still be able to finish the rest of the workout proficiently. So we'll do a vertical bound series. If you've seen my Instagram at all, you've probably seen me talk about the vertical bounds. And so essentially what these are they're a bounding circuit on single leg where essentially you just focus on applying force horizontally. So why these are good is they give you more practice at vertical force application, which when you see someone running in top speed really slow, you actually see that their foot hits the ground perpendicular to the ground, so they are applying force in a vertical manner. And besides that, from plyometrics, we all know the benefits. Like you build elastic strength, you build power, and you teach your body to be stiff. So if you want to be a fast top speed runner or get the most out of your speed work, you do want to exhibit joint stiffness. And by doing plyometrics, that's how you build joint stiffness in a more controlled manner. So that's why we have the vertical bounds here. And we pair vertical bounds here because top speed is a vertically based exercise. If we're doing an acceleration day, then we would grab horizontal plyometrics. And so the last thing I would put in this workout is a snatch, actually. And I would give you about 6 sets of 5 reps of these. at 50%. And the rest here, we'll say 3 minutes. If you want to do 4, if you want to do 5, so you feel like, again, set 1 looks like set 6, then absolutely take that rest. But we're loading light here because top speed is very fast, so we want to do some fast work in the gym if we can. And 50% of your winner at max, it'll move fast. It won't be a lot of weight, but it will move fast. And that's part of the reason why I chose this snatch, actually, is the snatch because of how much distance you have to cover from the ground to above your head versus a clean where it's from the ground to your shoulders about. Snatches are a faster exercise. They do have a faster velocity to them. So that's why I do like to pair up my snatches with top speed days. And this is honestly about it. Like, it's a really simple workout, nothing special here, nothing fancy, nothing crazy. You'll get really fast from doing this workout for a long period of time, I can promise you that. And I did miss one thing that I'll toss in now, is if you're doing the vertical bounds, I usually like to opt in 2 sets of 10 meters per leg. 2 sets of 10 meters per leg, that's it. And there's about 4 variations of vertical bounds in there. So I'll do one where I'm only using my left leg for the 10 meters and one where I'm only using my right leg for the 10 meters. And then one where I alternate every 2 from left to right. So like left, left, right, right. And then I like to do some lateral ones as well, just to build strength in different parts of the ankle, not just straight the entire time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Steal this workout. Let me know how it goes for you when you do. And thanks for watching.